Guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the classics that I've read this year. And I've mentioned it in several videos before that I'm trying to read a classic a month, because last year I maybe read 2 or 3 classics out of the 160 books that I read. That's kind of a bad ratio right there, but I do want to read more classics, so I made a goal for myself to read 1 classic a month. So I have actually 7 classics to show you, so I'm 1 ahead, and I want to just talk about them and kind of just like recap my thoughts on them and all that jazz. In January, I read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I didn't like it. I think it's the format I was reading it in. I was listening to it on audiobook, and I don't feel like I got a good grip of the background or like the characters, or I just don't feel like I got a full reading experience of it through that format. So I do want to read it in the future, and I hope we're learning it in school so I can like study it in class, but I do plan to give this a reread. But for the time being, I gave it like 2 stars or something, so yeah. I read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Carroll, and this is the Penguin English Library edition, which also includes Through the Looking Glass. So I did not read Through the Looking Glass, I just read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So Through the Looking Glass starts here, so I just read this, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and I did like this. It was really strange, it was kind of bizarre, but I liked some of the creatures and stuff. Like I liked the Cheshire Cat because and it's just, I really like this edition too, with some illustrations. It was okay, it was decent, and I think I gave it around 3-ish stars, 3.25 stars or something like that, but it was alright, and it was still enjoyable and interesting to read. I read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper. This is a classic that we studied in school, and I really enjoyed this. I liked the topics of racism and all the things that kind of go along with that, and I liked the characters, and the plot was interesting, and just everything that went on I just really enjoyed, and I enjoyed studying it and stuff. And I don't really like to talk about it too much on my channel, like as of right now, because we talked about it so much in class, so I'm kind of like feel that I said enough about this book. But I did really enjoy this. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. So, and next here I have The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. This is one that I really enjoyed, and it does have obviously to do with suicide, but it was very, very good. I think I only gave it around 3.25 stars, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the writing style was fantastic, and I loved the premise, and it was so like interesting. It hasn't been that long since I read it, but I still think about it a lot, so I don't know, maybe I'll upgrade that rating, but I definitely have a higher standard in my head than my actual rating that I gave it. So yeah, I gave this I think 3.25 at the time, but it's more of like a 3.5, 3.75 kind of read for me as of now. Next, I read another like favorite, and that is The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. If you've been here, I really enjoyed this classic. I really enjoyed this play. This was my first Shakespeare play, and I really enjoyed it. It gave me like every feeling. Like I felt sad at times, I was happy, I was laughing. Like it's just an enjoyable play, and it was really fun to study in class. It was really interesting, and I just enjoyed it, and for some reason I had a connection with it. So yeah, this one. And recently I read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, which this is probably the classic that I'm most proud that I read this year, because it is such a popular one. And basically I did really enjoy this. I do love Dickens' writing style, and I did like Pip and some of the concepts, but some things were alright, and the pacing is slow, but it's worth it by the end. But I did still enjoy it. I think I gave it around 3.5 stars, and I have a review up for this as well, but yes. And the last classic I have here to show you is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I talked about this in my most recent wrap-up video, and this is just a short little classic that takes place during the Victorian era, and it was interesting. It was dark, just how I like my books, and it was insightful, and I liked it, but it wasn't anything that was incredible to me. I think I only gave it around 3.25 stars, and I thought it was good for what it was, but it didn't like blow me away, or I didn't feel a so strong connection with it, but it was still okay. So yeah. So these are the classics that I've read so far this year. I'm happy to say that I've stuck to my goal, and if you guys have been reading more classics, let me know what you've read or what you thought of the classics that I've read, if you've read them and all that jazz. And I know it's not everyone's goal to read a classic a month or whatever. Some people read more, some people don't really read classics, but I thought this year was a good journey for me to kind of venture into the classics, and I would suggest doing it as well if you're interested. But yes, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon with a new video. Bye.